You know what? My career as a paramedic, we had to control so many things. Control the uncontrollables usually, scene control, people control, medication control. You know, as managers, it's audits and it's out of control, to be honest. And I just don't want to live that life anymore. I just don't. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because I want you to have a think about how much time you have spent looking in the rearview mirror. How much time do you spend reflecting on the past? What was? What happened? And what happens when you do finally get that diagnosis or that job loss or something really, really significant that happens in your life? And you then run out of time to be happy. Just let that land. What if you run out of time to be happy? It's an interesting time when anniversaries come around that you have a time of reflection about what was. And this month is big for me because the month of August it's a couple of things. One, it's my son's birthday, he'll be 36. He's due to have a baby with his partner, so that we'll have another birthday and another celebration. Another one is 3 years ago was the month that I resigned from my very long-term career as a paramedic, which was 28 years. And another anniversary is that it's the month that my mother passed away 4 years ago in August. So August is a big time of reflection. And in the past, there's mixed emotions in there, aren't there? Birthdays, birth to come, some mixed emotions about leaving my career, and my mum passing. And it actually has only just dawned on me today that, you know, August is all of these things. So it's very meaningful, really. So this week I've been having a little bit of a reflection about how did I get here? How did Wendy get to this place at 58? How is she now not part of that career and organisation that she had set her heart on and I guess planned her life, that's where she would retire from? How did I get to be a mum of a 36-year-old and a 24-year-old and a 22-year-old? It's amazing how quickly the years go, and almost a grandma. And of course the other elephant in the room is that your parents have all passed away, and you know it's a unusual time, really. That, you know, Sunday cup of teas and visits and maybe taking your parents to appointments, and yeah, it kind of dawns on you that they're no longer around to do that, and you are now that next generation. So one of the questions I've been asking myself this week is, what have I had to change since I've changed my life pretty dramatically? You know, in this last 3 years. So this anniversary is coming up. What have I had to do? And one of the biggest things I've had to do is take a really good hard look at myself, at, you know, what are my true beliefs and true north? What's my true north? Do I have values? Do I have boundaries? Do I have sovereignty over my life? Big questions, deep questions, and they're actually questions that I work through with the women that I work with. But for me personally, I have had to question all these things, and there's days where I've been really confused about the answers. You know what? My career as a paramedic, we had to control so many things. Control the uncontrollables usually, scene control, people control, medication control. You know, as managers, it's audits and it's out of control, to be honest. And I just don't want to live that life anymore. I just don't. And so I'm actually feeling quite, now that I've kind of, you know what, I've made these decisions because I've gone deep and worked out what's important. I don't need to wake up every day and think, I have a purpose in my life. It's not that kind of important. But I've worked out who I say yes to, who I don't say yes to, who makes me feel good, who doesn't make me feel good, the people that I give a lot of time to, and the things that I don't give much time to. So 4 years ago, in April, was my mum's 85th birthday. Now, she was kind of frail, but she was stoic. And for her birthday, I bought her a nice light walking frame because she's very independent. She used to love getting on the town bus. She never drove a car in her life. And my dad used to always drive her around, but he passed away 10 years before she did. So for her, she wouldn't have a bar of having a walking frame until she was 85. So I bought her a really nice light one that she could lift on the bus because my mother was a tiny little frame of about 45 kilos. And I bought her here. Now, this looks like a very unusual location to bring her and her friend, but I sat her on the frame and I pushed her up this little hill and she loved it. And I've got some photos of her at home. And it was April, it was still warmish, and she had a sun hat on and some bright colours. So I have really happy memories when I think about those things. So only 2 months after that, Mum was diagnosed with lung cancer, and it was a very aggressive cancer, and straight away they said that it was terminal and they could not, and it wasn't going to be treatable. And so 10 weeks after that, Mum passed away. Now, let me tell you, I'm not telling you this to be a sad story, but let me tell you this. My mum wasted a lot of years when she was younger drinking alcohol and being unhappy. And she was on antidepressants a lot over her life. And there's that aeroplane again. And as she got older, I guess she found a little bit more happiness. So when she had grandchildren and great-grandchildren, she found a little bit more happiness and relief in life. Now, the silent generation had it tough. And remembering who their parents were as well. So their parents went through the depression. So our parents or grandparents, depending on how old you are, they had life pretty tough. And they were silent. They didn't complain too much, not that I'm aware of anyway. And so I think my mum might have suffered in a fair bit of silence over the years. Now, my mum and dad stayed together through thick and thin, and they were married for around 55 years, which is a pretty good innings these days. That happy marriage and a stable marriage and a stable home, they always lived in the same home, the last 40 years of their marriage. I don't think us 3 kids were very much trouble. And Mum never had to work and we always had food on the table. So it's not a tragic upbringing at all for me. But for Mum, I would say she wasn't ever able to get over some demons that have happened early in her life. Possibly that's what had driven her to alcohol throughout her more mature years, and perhaps antidepressants and just not really being able to cope with life that well. As she aged though, she didn't have any antidepressants. She didn't need them when she got older, and I think that was simply because life settled down. It was a lot calmer, and I guess us kids left home and she had grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and things probably felt a lot calmer for her, quieter. When my mum actually got diagnosed, and they don't really know, I guess they never really know how long it's going to take, but they said, a couple of months maybe. And so they were right, it was 10 weeks. But one of the first things that Mum said to me is, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to die. And that's very sad to hear that. And it's interesting to hear that because I remember hearing for so many years in the past that she wanted to. That was pretty hard to take too, as her daughter. And it's just how life changes when we're confronted with life or death. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because I want you to have a think about how much time you have spent looking in the rearview mirror. How much time do you spend reflecting on the past? What was? What happened? What happened to you? What happened in your workplace, your organisation? Maybe it was divorce, relationships, all kinds of things Things happen to us all the time, but it doesn't define who we are. And what happens when you do finally get that diagnosis or that job loss or something really, really significant that happens in your life, and you then run out of time to be happy? Just let that land. What if you run out of time to be happy and you've missed all of those opportunities to enjoy your loved ones or have some freedom in your life? If you don't have loved ones or you don't have many close friends, make some. Put yourself out there. Have some freedom. Feel the fresh air on your face or the sun in the winter. Have a real review and think about, what am I doing in this life that's been gifted to me? Am I wasting it on things that have done and dusted? I'm sure we're all guilty of it. And I had been too. And these are the things that made me feel like I didn't want to get out of bed. Like I was sad and depressed and, regretting some things that had happened in my life. But I can't stay in that space. Here comes another aeroplane. There must be a student getting lots of hours today. But in all honesty, ask yourself if staying in that place is serving you. Is it serving your family? Is it serving your future? And if the answer is no, start down at the basics. Start reviewing your core values. The things that are the most important things in your life. The things that you turn to help you make the decisions in your life. The big decisions, the little decisions, the messy middle. Think about the boundaries that may have fallen over and maybe put you into the challenging positions that you're in now. And think about, have I let my sovereignty go? Are other people in charge of what's going on for me? Have I let other people speak for me? Have I let other people make decisions for me? And things that perhaps you should have stood up and said, are these about conversations that perhaps might have been well to have? Are these about decisions that you could have made? Decisions that would have changed your life or changed the direction that you're now in? Just having a bit of a think about those things, but don't ponder too long. Now's the time to act. Now's the time to make some changes, because we don't want to get to that time, to that diagnosis. We do not want to get to that place where we think, I am not ready because I still have a life to live. I want another opportunity. The opportunity is today. So say yes today and say yes to yourself and make those changes. Just little changes at a time, a little bit of consistency day to day, putting little changes in place, little anchors, reviewing core values, resurrecting those boundaries and taking your sovereignty back. I hope that makes sense to you, because I know these are the things that have helped me to get myself together again. It's not perfect and I'm not perfect and I don't have it all together, but I'm on the journey and I have faith that I'm going to continue on that journey. It'll be lifelong. I just want to make sure that I don't get to that diagnosis or that deathbed, or I'm being pushed through the doors of that nursing home and I haven't given it my best shot. So whatever you're up to today, I hope you can get outside and maybe do something like this. Have a think about what you've been up to, the decisions that you've made, and perhaps where you are in your life right now. And I hope that it's given you a little bit of clarity and a few things to think about. So my name's Wendy and this is Grounded Gen X. And if you feel like this is a conversation that has helped or you'd like to be a part of, I'd really love it if you could follow along and join me. And perhaps, is there someone that would really need to hear it? And if so, I'd appreciate if you'd share the message. Well, until next time, have a great day and thanks for listening. Bye.